What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Legitical Response, and I just want to take a brief second to say, what is really going on here? Holy crap, I don't know if you guys heard, but it's all over the news. It's plastered everywhere, and I know I try to cover stories that are not necessarily in the mainstream. Stuff about the government you're not really going to hear about, but yeah, I can't ignore this. I've been covering this Trump hush money trial for a while, and you know, we thought the bombshell testimony was when Michael Cohen gets up there and actually gets caught lying to the defense attorneys, to Trump's attorneys, and we thought that was like, whoa, yeah, he's a convicted liar. He goes on these deranged rants on TikTok wishing Trump was in jail, and it's like, how the hell can you trust this guy? His credibility was already like probably the worst that you could ask for as a prosecutor. You know, he's just a convicted liar twice. Like, he lied to Congress, he's lied in court before, he's been to jail for lying, for God's sakes, and we want to trust this guy? I mean, look at some of those deranged TikToks, for goodness sakes. These are just outright insane, right? And then, on top of that, we get this.
Through further cross-examination, Cohen told me that he knew there was money missing from the Trump inauguration.
Yes. I see where you are now. Thank you.
Okay, and then on the next page, into that first paragraph, Cohen decided that while he didn't believe the allegation of the Stormy Daniels story, that he thought the story would be embarrassing for Trump and especially for Melania, so he decided he would take care of it himself.
Absolutely, and that is contrary to what this guy testified to in court in New York yesterday.
Well, and what's not being talked about is your next paragraph, like the reason and his motivation for that. So if you could just kind of walk through that for the committee.
Yeah, obviously, when we started to talk about the NDAs, and this is the very first meeting at the Regency Hotel, when, by the way, Rudy Giuliani was not involved in representing Donald Trump at that time. Cohen testified that it was a conspiracy between Giuliani and Costello as of this date. Totally false. In any event, he also said that he didn't discuss the Stormy Daniels matter with us, and he certainly did. I specifically asked him, because he kept on going back saying, I can't believe they're trying to put me in jail for these NDAs. So I said, Michael, tell me about the NDA. Tell me about Stormy Daniels. What did you do? He said, I got a call from a lawyer representing Stormy Daniels who represented that she was going to testify that Donald Trump had sex with Stormy Daniels. Michael Cohen said, I didn't believe the allegation, but I knew that such an allegation would be terribly embarrassing. He said it would be embarrassing. He focused on Melania Trump. He said, I didn't want to embarrass Melania Trump. He said, that's why I decided to take care of this on my own. Right. I went back to that several times. You did this on your own? On my own. Did Donald Trump have anything to do with it? No. Did you get the money from Donald Trump? No. From any of his organizations? No. From anybody connected to Donald Trump? No. Where did you get the money? I took out a HELOC loan against my property. I said, why would you do that? He said, I didn't want anybody to know where I got this money. I didn't want Melania to know. I didn't want my own wife to know, because she's in charge, he said, of the Cohen family finances. He said if she saw money coming out of my account, she'd ask me 100 questions, and I didn't want to answer any of them. It was clear after talking to him for several days after that, whenever we talked on the phone or in my office, that he kept on bringing up the subject that he felt he was betrayed by not being brought down to Washington, D.C. This guy thought, he said to me, that he should have been Attorney General of the United States, or at least the chief assistant to the president. Ludicrous, but that's what he thought. And he was very angry about that. He wanted to do something to put himself back into the inner circle of Donald Trump. That's why he took care of this on his own. There had to be a motivation. Michael Cohen is always working for things that benefit himself. And that's what he was doing here. That's completely different to what he said that he told the grand jury. That's completely different to what he's testifying to in New York. Nobody has heard this side of the equation.
So somebody's lying here, right? Like, that is Michael Cohen's lawyer saying that, testifying to Congress under penalty of perjury. This guy, Bob Costello, could go to jail for this testimony right here, for lying about this. He could absolutely go to jail. So I don't see any good reason for him to lie. You could say I'm biased. Sure. try to look at this from a unbiased perspective, it's almost impossible. However, with Bob Costello's testimony, somebody has to be lying. So are we going to trust a lawyer, or are we going to trust a convicted liar? Yeah, I think I know whose story I'm going to go with on this one, considering Bob Costello's sounds a lot more believable, if you ask me, just putting the two stories together, right? Because I've postulated a lot in the past, like, okay, so they were falsifying business records to cover up something that wasn't illegal. Why? That makes absolutely no sense. Why would you falsify a business record for no apparent reason? It doesn't make any sense. However, if you take Bob Costello's word for it, it makes a whole hell of a lot more sense. Michael Cohen was trying to become the Attorney General of the United freaking States, and he wanted to suck up to Trump just as much as he could. However, that's not even what the bombshell testimony today was. Check this out, y'all. Trump lawyer lands blow against Cohen on stealing from Trump Organization. That's right. He outright admits to stealing $30,000, falsifying some records to steal $30,000. He was supposed to pay Red Finch $50,000. He pays Red Finch $20,000 and keeps $30,000 for himself. Let's get into it. Former President Trump's lead defense attorney landed another punch on Michael Cohen on Monday, getting him to admit he stole from the Trump Organization as the ex-fixer was allegedly being repaid for the hush money payment at the center of Trump's criminal case. "You stole from the Trump Organization," Trump attorney Todd Blanche asked on the third and final day of his cross-examination. "Yes," responded Cohen, without contesting to Blanche's framing whatsoever. So he just outright said yes. Is this guy really wanting to put Trump behind bars? Or is this guy really trying to get back into the good graces of Donald Trump again? Because why would you say that? Like you're already a convicted perjurer. Why not just go ahead and lie again? Can they prove it? I mean, I'm sure they can. That's the only reason he brought that up. And Cohen doesn't want to go back to jail for lying. But however, hang on just a second. If Alvin Bragg doesn't open up a criminal case against Michael Cohen, we will all see, the entire population of the world, anybody that watches or pays attention to this stuff, will see that this is all absolute BS. And you don't need to be biased in either direction to see that. This guy is outright admitting to grand larceny. If they do not charge him, that will be one of the most insane uses of prosecutorial discretion I have ever seen in my entire life. You've got a guy admitting under oath to stealing $30,000. And if you don't go after that, if you do not prosecute, yeah, we can all see where this is going to go. We're going to see what happens with this, folks. This is outright nuts. Cohen made the $130,000 hush money payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 presidential election to stay quiet about her alleged affair with Trump, which he denies. Billed as Manhattan prosecutors' star witness, Cohen has served as perhaps the most damning witness against Trump in his first criminal case. Huh? What do you mean, most damning witness? He just admitted to stealing from the Trump Organization. Do you really think the jury, with any, even if they're biased against Trump, can look at this and say, oh yeah, they're certain that Donald Trump is guilty of falsifying these business records and it wasn't Michael Cohen doing it behind his back for some reason, right? Like, it absolutely makes zero sense to me, right? Like, I hope this will be brought up at some point. Why in the hell would they falsify business records to cover up something that is not a crime? Makes no sense, folks. Implicating the former president in his testimony more than any other witness on his 34 counts of falsifying business records. Each count corresponds to an alleged document generated in paying Cohen a total of $420,000 across 12 monthly installments once he paid off Daniels. Trump pled not guilty. Of course, because Obviously, he's not guilty. Prosecutors say the total included multiple parts: a $130,000 reimbursement for paying Daniels, a $50,000 reimbursement for paying tech firm Redfinch to boost Trump's poll rating, doubling that subtotal so it was grossed up for tax purposes, and adding another $60,000 for Cohen's year-end bonus. Blanche pressed Cohen about how he only paid Redfinch $20,000 despite still asking for the larger reimbursement from the Trump Organization. Prosecutors circled back to the Redfinch reimbursement during their redirect examination, asking Cohen why he asked for a larger reimbursement than what he paid to the firm. Cohen explained it was very upsetting that his annual bonus had been cut by 2/3. I was angry because of the reduction in the bonus, and so I felt like it was almost like self-help, Cohen said. So he was already disgruntled at Donald Trump at this point. What reasonable person would be led to believe that Michael Cohen didn't do this just to get back at Donald Trump? Case freaking closed right there, folks. I'm sorry. There is nothing else anybody can tell me after hearing this that Donald Trump is guilty. No, I'm sorry. Donald Trump is not guilty. Michael Cohen just freaking screwed himself. He just threw himself under the jail, for God's sakes. This is nuts, y'all. Like, I can't believe this dude actually is admitting to this. A convicted perjurer is not lying? Like, what is really going on here? The ex-Trump fixer's testimony, now stretching into its second week, has spanned his early work for the Trump Organization to the 2018 guilty plea he ultimately made on federal campaign finance and other charges. Cohen directly linked Trump to at least 22 of the documents the former president is accused of falsifying, testifying that 11 invoices he submitted to Trump were false records and that the $35,000 monthly checks he received in 2017 arrived regardless of minimal work for his then boss. Trump's lawyers have insisted the records in question, which were labeled a legal retainer fee, were truthful. They have also distanced the former president from the document's creation. The line of questioning about Cohen's stealing marked one of the few damning punches during his cross-examination. Last week, Blanche blew up at Cohen, suggesting he was lying about a key call he claimed to have had with Trump about the hush money arrangement. Cohen also confirmed he helped coordinate 2 other hush money deals paid for by a friendly tabloid executive at the time. The admission bolstered the state's greater theory of the case that Trump sought to have negative stories about him silenced to clear his path to the White House in 2016. And you see what the corporate press is trying to do right here? They're trying to, it bolstered their case that he was trying to shut up bad stories about him. Yeah, that's what they're telling you. That's not illegal, by the way, folks. Let's keep that in mind. The corporate press and Alvin Bragg, they're trying to taint the jury with this. Look, he did this. He was trying to take bad stories about him and shut them up, make them just go away. Of course, every politician in every single election does this. I'm sorry. That's how politics works. It's not illegal to make somebody shut up or to take a story and purchase that story so it doesn't get out to the larger public. It might be underhanded. Sure, whatever. Call it whatever the hell you want. It's not illegal. Because at the same time, you could have these stories come out and they be false. And this story comes out, and boom, you got a false allegation out there. And with the Me Too movement and all this BS that went on, you're looking at something that could potentially, not get you elected. But nevertheless, this is all legal. It's all on the up and up. They can't taint the jury by saying, yes, he did this and it's wrong. Yeah, it might be morally wrong once again, but however, it's not illegal, so you can't use that as a basis for your criminal prosecution. I'm sorry, the law doesn't work that way. You can't use a non-crime as a jumping point into something that is a crime. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work that way. If I'm wrong about that, somehow, Let me know down in the comments section. To prove Trump guilty of the felony charges he faces, prosecutors must show his efforts to quash bad press ran afoul of federal and state election law, which I do believe has already been proven to be false. His efforts to quash bad press is not illegal. I'm sorry, there's no way around that. The FEC already looked into this. The DOJ already looked into this. Said there's no crime. So how the hell can a local Manhattan district attorney... by the way, let's all not forget that this is well out of the statute of limitations. How can he just come in at a later date, past the statute of limitations, and try to charge somebody? Oh, they just want to get Donald Trump. It's a rigged court, it's a rigged prosecutor, it's a rigged judge, it's a rigged system. They just want to go after Trump. As Fareed Sicario said, from CNN, by the way.
Meanwhile, Republicans seem to be uniting behind Trump. Whatever opposition he faced in the primaries has largely melted away. And the trials against him keep him in the spotlight, infuriate his base, who sees him as a martyr, and even may serve to make him the object of some sympathy among people in general who believe that his prosecutors are politically motivated. This happens to be true, in my opinion. I doubt the New York indictment would have been brought against a defendant whose name was not Donald Trump. A majority of Americans are skeptical that Trump will be able to get a fair trial, according to a CNN poll.
But I really don't see any way of getting around the fact that it makes Michael Cohen look really bad. This whole thing, this whole situation, everything included, makes Alvin Bragg look really, really bad. It makes the entire judicial system of New York look corrupted as hell. How the hell can you go through a sham process with very, very flimsy evidence, novel legal theories that you can't even name the freaking crime? Election interference, right? You're trying to charge somebody on a state level for a federal election, huh? How does that actually work? This is all just a sham. If you disagree with that, let me know down in the comments section, because I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your legal defense for as to why we should go ahead and convict Donald Trump for this. There is so much reasonable doubt here. Now even with this, there's so much reasonable doubt that you could fill up New York Giants Stadium, for God's sakes, with reasonable doubt as to why this whole thing should be thrown out. Just completely on its face tomorrow morning. First thing, throw it out. But are they going to do that? I highly doubt it. Like I said, this whole system is rigged against Trump. The prosecutors are probably going to plea with the jury. Look at everything Trump did. Look at all this stuff. You hate Donald Trump. This is our chance to get him. You got to convict him of nothing, folks. And if it happens, we all know it's going to be flopped on appeal, because there is zero federal judge, federal appellate judge, anything that would look at this case and give it any sort of credence whatsoever, any sort of daylight of legitimacy, if you will. This case has zero standing anymore, if you ask me. Once again, I'm not a legal expert, but I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments section, because I'm not a legal expert, y'all. I'm not a lawyer, didn't go to school for it, so I don't know. I just read the news, and I just use my logic that I have to work these things out and bring it to you guys. So, y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.